The big YouTube staple, The Quartering, Jeremy over there, says that, well, his channel is dying, and it's changing. And it's all because apparently YouTube is changing, perhaps moving away from the new media and favoring the legacy media outlets. Folks, today we'll dive into whether or not that is true. Stick around. You need to know what's happening and how it's going to affect you and your video watching. Hello folks, welcome back. It is the Pro Channel where we bring sobriety and a sense of common sense to every single video we send over to you. As we get started on this very hot topic, one that could get us in a little bit of hot water even, folks, click the like button, share, subscribe, and it's never been so important as now. Click it, stick it to those algorithms. It is the notification bell. Let's dive into the video right now. All right, let's take a look at this, folks. There is word on the street that many of the independent content creators on YouTube are being defeated by whatever's happening. Let's take a look at The Quartering, who says that he is destroying his channel, and perhaps because YouTube is destroying his. We're going to play just a bit of this, and then we're going to get into the details because there's more here than necessarily meets the eye. Here we go. Let's dive in and hope Jeremy is kind to us in playing some of the clips here and sending some folks his way. Here we go.
I don't know if many of you have noticed, but I've been a lot more shifty and weird breathy lately. And it's because I'm having near daily anxiety. There's been something going on with my YouTube channel over the past couple of weeks that I have been spending almost every single night trying to figure out. I talked to my YouTube rep. I talked to other people in the space. I just can't figure it out. And right now, I don't even really have a great answer.
All right, let's pause there and let's just talk about what he's talking about. And that is that many channels out there, specifically those of independent content creators, are saying that the views for their channels, their videos, are crashing on YouTube. And the reason this matters is because we here on the Pro Channel try to analyze what's happening in entertainment. YouTube is the biggest entertainment platform on the planet. It's not close. It's by far. YouTube by itself is worth more than the entire Disney company and everything they hold. And I have to say that having looked into this a little bit, it does appear there's something here that we need to talk about. If I go to Timcast, for example, Timcast is one of the biggest independent news YouTube channels out there. Tim Pool has so many different YouTube channels, and that I think is a defense mechanism that he's got in place to help him not be cancelable. But this one at Timcast, the original, 1.42 million subscribers. Again, 1.42 million subscribers. And if we scroll down here to his videos, well, take a look at this. Timcast, in the last 19 hours, got 73,000 views. One day ago, 20,000 views. One day ago, 26,000 views. 2 days ago, 30,000 views. 2 days ago, 52,000. 2 days ago, 16,000. 3 days ago, 10,000 views. Now, folks, I'm going to tell you, that's just about impossible to have almost 1.5 million subscribers getting notified when you put a video out. 1.5 million people and 10,000 clicked on the video. It's almost impossible. And I'm going to share another thing with you as we go back to The Quartering. And I know all of you out there have opinions if you've watched The Quartering or Timcast or these other big YouTube channels. I know you all have opinions about these guys. We don't want to get into that right now. I'll just say this. YouTube channels and their videos, the way that I understand it, is that a video needs to pick up at least 10% of the subscriber number of that channel for YouTube to think, oh boy, this is a channel that's continuing to grow. If you're landing under 10%, YouTube looks at it, I believe, and says, not even the subscribers of this channel are interested. Therefore, it's a dying channel. Therefore, we'll give it less spotlight. Now, the key thing about this is the new media rose up and influenced the election and influenced society. And the new media was conquering. It was destroying. It was winning. And the legacy media was on the ropes. Something seems to be happening in the last 2 months. To look at, let me go back. I guess I left too hastily. When Timcast with 1.5 million views gets with 1.5 million subscribers gets 10,000 views on a video, that is astronomically low improbably low, and it has to tell the algorithm that there's a problem. Maybe, though, the algorithm is the reason for it. Let's go back to Jeremy. Let's play just a little bit more, and then we're going to dive into what we think is actually going on here.
But what I do have is an action plan. Over the past several weeks, I have noticed videos that used to get 50, 60, 70, 80,000 views were starting to get 10,000 views, 15,000 views. And it caused great panic because, as you know, I have a lot of staff. My YouTube channel actually pays for all of the staff on my live stream. I have, a thumbnail person, video editors.
All right, let's pause there and let's just say this. The independent media that came in, the new media that defeated the legacy media, began to staff up and have been for years now. And so these are businesses. So you can think of the Quartering as this one individual, but in reality, Jeremy probably has a huge staff that works on all this stuff for him. And you can debate the quality of whatever he does. We're not interested in that right now because we're aiming at something in particular, and that is that YouTube, in the past 2 months, let's say, something appears to have changed, and that change could be to such a degree that the new media and the systems that they've put in place with expectations over the past several years, they may have to make drastic changes. And of course, Jeremy says, I'm destroying my channel, and talks about how he's firing people and he's restructuring his company and all that. Real quick, let's bring in another voice to this, and that's the master of the TDS. Of course, TDS does not stand for Trump derangement in this case, but says, update. A 100K channel has reached out, and their data confirms my findings. Probability is now sitting at 98.2%, yada, yada. What he's talking about is he's been trying to get large channels to share with him data, because he says that YouTube view drops aren't random. And he thinks he's just figured out why. He says he's been digging through the analytics, and based on the data he's collected, his theory about what's causing the drops is sitting at now 98%. He's trying to get that as high as he can, and he's saying he's going to release this. But he is saying that he's seen something, and Master of the TDS has uncovered a bunch of stuff in the past in regards to bots and undercover things going on in Hollywood. Now he says that he thinks there's something going on YouTube, and he's getting ready to release that. So I want to go to the panel now and just say, guys and girls, what do you think about this idea that I have? What we may be watching is that the legacy media is completely on the ropes. MSNBC, CNN, their ratings are disastrously low to the point they cannot continue. And that's why their companies are spinning them off. But there are other legacy companies out there, many of them. They can no longer exist in the spaces that they built. They have to join YouTube now. Well, there's only so many eyeballs. There's so many watch hours across the entire globe. And in order for them to get into YouTube, I think some space has to be created. I'm not suggesting this is right. In fact, I would say it's the opposite. But I wonder if what's happening right now is that things are shifting so that more quote unquote impressions can go out to the legacy media as they migrate into YouTube looking for a foothold to save themselves. I wonder if that is what is occurring and is taking away those views from channels like The Quartering, like from Timcast and all of that stuff, and other channels that we know and love. Panel, what say you? Culture, you've got deep thoughts on it, and you have knowledge in this area. I'll go to you first, and then I saw Kevin with his hand up. We'll go to Culture, then Kevin, real quick.
Look, I'm going to say that Master of the TDS, if he thinks he has something, he has something. And in this situation, I agree with, some of the outcomes that both he and you are looking at. I think that we're absolutely going to be facing them. But if the algorithm speaks true to the mathematical, design that it has, eventually you won't get that favored treatment. If you are getting, this is the hot thing, injected or ingested into the algorithm for now, that's going to reflect poorer revenue on YouTube. It's also going to change how people rely on the algorithm in their feed. If they're seeing less and less of their favorite content creator, despite the fact that they're seeing notifications and commentary messages and things like that, if they keep electing to go to that person instead of the mainstream, the YouTube's going to hurt itself financially because you're not going to get the ad revenue from the advertisers that you normally would. because nobody's going to watch, or view things like Jimmy Kimmel and the other things that we watch that are failing, that are trying to save themselves. And believe it or not, that's network television. Another conversation that we had just the other day. But when I look at it, I think that's 100% right. The views are being stripped away. I'm seeing it where I only have a few videos a week that are hitting anywhere close to the numbers that they need to be. And I think Jeremy's just seeing it a different way. And, maybe it's how we couch things. Maybe it's the language that we use. I think that's all possibilities, as we suggested at the beginning of the stream. But I think in a lot of ways, Jeremy's also been a victim to himself recently by injecting so much of his own, commercials in and on his content. And, he's perfectly entitled to do that. I'm a huge fan of the quartering and Jeremy. You don't have to be. I like to catch some of his stuff that he does on Rumble. But I think the other problem is that our understanding of what's being watched right now is being tainted by how Rumble and YouTube don't align when it comes to what they call views and watches and the number of minutes and hours that people watch, because Rumble doesn't have a similar algorithm in any way. So I think that that's kind of skewing people's perception, and everybody wants to get back to, raw numbers, which is why I really applaud Master of the TDS. He and his wife do a great job on that channel, and I'm very proud of what they do. And if he's saying it, I think I'm going to take it to the bank.
Very salient points, Culture. And let me add two more things to toss to Kevin. One is there's a possibility here that partially you've got people who pioneered this area, but now you've got channels with extreme desire to catch up, who are doing all the polish in the world. They're bringing a level of expertise, and that may be also eating away from some of the legacy YouTube channels, not the legacy media, but the legacy YouTube channels that have existed longer. I don't know if that's what's happening to the quartering or not. But then too, Kevin, I got to say, algorithmically, I see what the quartering is talking about, and that's why we're doing this segment. And Culture probably sees it. Other YouTubers see it. Nat and the guy probably see it. Ron sees it. Here, what I see is I can cover one topic one day and get 100,000 views on the video. I can cover the same topic the next day and get 5,000 views. And the problem with that is that strips away the predictability, because in the past, I knew what people were interested in. I knew that YouTube would treat each video the same. The impressions would happen and boom, boom. And now, it's like sometimes the door is open from YouTube and sometimes the door is closed. So I do see both sides of this, where I see people, critiquing, and sometimes in a helpful way and sometimes not, the quartering, and saying you need to do some things better. I also see that there's something underlying this, the substrate of YouTube. So Kevin, what do you think is going on here, where YouTube has the opportunity to explode? I mean, just ride the new media wave, and now 6 months after the election, it's like it's being taken away a little bit.
So, I think a very itty bitty tiny part of it is, yes, there are more voices and more voices in the space. But at the end of the day, cream always rises at the top, and competition is a good thing.
Kevin, let's hold for a minute. You're roboting. You've got a bandwidth issue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Nat and the guy first. We'll let your internet connect, and then we'll bring you right back on. Nat, I'm going to give you the same question. YouTube has the chance to explode with the new media, ride the wave, and for some reason, they're choosing maybe not to. What do you think about it?
Maybe they went with what they might be thinking is easier for them, which is like bringing on the already kind of legacy ones and leave behind a lot of the creators that made it on the platform itself. And even talking just numbers and views, we also noticed the dip, and I started trying to research and figure out what was going on the algorithm, or if other people were like having a video do really badly and then the next one really great, and then it just seems very random. Even from when we started our Spanish channel, for example, which we started uploading in Spanish last year, we've noticed a drastic change in how things get distributed, who gets to see what. And for example, we have a whole theory that Meghan Markle is doing something, because anything that Meghan Markle's name touches, it does great for some reason. And that seems odd compared to other things we have released that I think are maybe even more valuable or more interesting, but maybe I just don't know what the public wants. But in Spanish, surprisingly, the channel is doing a bit better than our English channel. So maybe it's also divided by that with the topics. But Right now, also, there's other players that could try to come in. Who knows if they will, but for example, X could use this to sweep up a lot of those creators that are mostly politically focused or mostly talk about politics and news and offer them a new platform to kind of keep building, kind of like what Rumble tried to do, but I don't know if they managed to do it as well as maybe X could. I don't know.
Absolutely. I think you're exactly right on that. And Kevin, you've got your connection back. Share your thoughts, please, sir.
All right. So I think the first part, I do think, yes, you're fine. A very tiny bit of it has to do with the influx of new voices. Competition's always a good thing. Cream always rises to the top. But what I really think here is something that I've said on this channel many times. The left and legacy media don't learn the lessons because they don't have to learn the lessons. They will manipulate, obfuscate, and play dirty. And I think we're seeing the beginning of what's happening here. They have no choice. Network TV has failed them. Cable television has failed them. The old ways are kind of going away. They need to go into a new space. They have no choice. So I think you're seeing here is the beginning of, YouTube kind of being terraformed to welcome their friends into the party. We've seen this happen before. We watched it happen during the beer bug. Language was crushed. You had to essentially infantilize most of your adult thoughts, or else you were going to be punished, demonetized, if not kicked off. We know YouTube has a habit, and
we've went to Robo Kevin again. Kevin, thank you for the thoughts that you had. We'll get you back real soon. Ron, as someone who is a supplier of YouTube content, what do you make of the idea that some of the biggest YouTube content creators out there, and it's not just a quarter, and we showed you Timcast, and I can go through the list. I mean, it's extensive, expansive, and perhaps growing. What do you make of the idea that the big ones here on YouTube that have been against the grain are having some of their views taken away?
I think it's very clear by what just happened that it's obviously Kevin Apollo's fault. Anytime
he's behind
Kevin,
it all. Well,
Kevin comes on, he's
Yeah.
huge, he erases everything, and now YouTube's trying to get rid of him.
Don't let them hold you down, Kevin. Don't let them do it. Say no to the man.
I don't think they can hold down Kevin.
I want to say,
do I have to post a black box on my social media to get some attention?
One thing that I noticed long before I was trying to be on YouTube was, as a viewer, this was bothering me. I don't know if it's happening again, something like this, but MSNBC was in my feed constantly, and there is nothing about MSNBC that I like. So I tried. I Google search, how do I block this channel? I don't want it to come up. I did everything. I went through all the steps to block the channel, and MSNBC
the 7 weeks, Ron, we told you those 7 weeks that you kept searching for Joy Reid. I told you what was going to happen. You didn't listen. Come on,
that was even before. This was actually before I discovered you, Pro. I mean, we're talking about, I want to say 4 or 5 years ago. I do not want MSNBC coming up in my feed at all. And it was so bothersome to me. And I'm wondering how much that kind of thing continues to happen, where, it's possible these media companies can come in and they can put money on the table that a regular YouTuber cannot, and they can manipulate the system. I mean, money. I was just watching how Philo Farnsworth got messed over by RCA back in the day when he was the one that actually invented television, and then couldn't even back then. We're talking about the 1930s. Money, unfortunately, can always manipulate the system, and it's kind of sad sometimes. I will say this: YouTube does seem to have given the opportunity to many voices that might not have had any voice before in the past, and I still think that's a good thing. And I'm still going to hold out hope that YouTube will be smart about that, and eventually the algorithm's going to play out where the viewers will really control everything, and whatever the viewer wants is what they're going to get. Like, I think it was Culture was saying that, look, if they see this and they don't want that, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt YouTube's revenue from advertisers if they're not letting people watch what we want to watch. It's really that simple.
You know, and there are cycles, algorithmic cycles to YouTube. And so we just hope that this gets cleared out soon because, again, what were we showing? And Jonas, you speak to this. It's statistically impossible for Timcast, and we're not here to like defend Tim Pool. We've got friends who are friends with Tim Pool and, you know, cool and all of that. We wish everybody success. But mathematically, I can't make it work that a channel that has 1.5 million subscribers gets 10,000 views on a video that's covering something that's in the news right now that people want to know about. I struggle to imagine that the 1.5 million, people that are subscribed to him saw that the refusal about the Middle East conflict, the one that got 10,000 views, and that 1.49 million said, "No, I'll pass on that." I just struggle to imagine that's possible. So, Jonas, is it just a natural cyclical thing on YouTube?
It's a little bit. I mean, it's not like we don't have examples of this. People signing up for a cable subscription because it has 150 channels, and you tend to just go back to the same 2 or 3. I think this is something where, especially if you are subscribed to a channel, actually, I think the sweet spot is to have someone not subscribe to a channel and watch all of your content. I think that is the only situation in which YouTube will continue to recommend someone over and over and over again. Because once you're subscribed, they actually start counting it against you if you miss a video. Whereas if you're not a subscriber and you miss a video, then they just assume that you aren't necessarily interested in that one. You are interested in the rest. Though YouTube is an unusual system, and people say the YouTube algorithm, there's probably about 7 or 8 YouTube algorithms stacked on top of each other. This is kind of the thing where we can always speculate, and there's always somebody who seems to think to have the best answer. The real thing you got to look for is who is punching through and what are they doing, and do other people doing the same thing get the same result, and then do that.
There you go.
Well, I think what we're seeing is it's manipulation of the free market system. The free market system is designed so that, something like the new media comes along and the legacy dinosaur media has got to either adapt to meet the threat or be steamrolled to make way for the new wave of what the consumers want. But what you see all too often, this reminds me of a thing that I saw in Orlando right around the time rideshare was starting to become a thing. Uber was killing the taxi cab industries, particularly coming from Orlando Airport. And so what did the city of Orlando do? It placed instead of forcing the cab companies to meet the pricing of the rideshare companies, it forced the rideshare companies to raise their prices when coming from Orlando Airport. It's completely against the free market. You're supposed to let people decide for themselves. The dream is supposed to be, you put in the work, you have a great idea, you cultivate it, and you can succeed based on that idea. But what we see is the establishment pushes down the new thing to prop up the old. And that is the problem. And that is what I think is happening here.
And let's hope that things settle down. Folks, we're not here to be frowning. You all know the rise that we've had here has been meteoric. And you all know that it's because of you. The thing that we ask for this channel is very simple. It's more important than ever that you click that notification bell and that you don't wait for notifications, that you actually know, hey, Pro is here at 8:30, at 12:30, at 3:30, and 8:30 again every single day. We're here bringing you the news that you need to know. And to everybody on the panel, go subscribe to their channels and then find out what's their release schedule and be there. That is the way we win. The way we win is you. It's always going to be you. There are tricks, there are strategies, but ultimately, there is nothing without you, because you are truly, always, the gigawatts.
1.21 gigawatts! 1.21 gigawatts!
Good night, game over, drive home safely. Folks, this video is done. But before we all head home, we only ask one thing. Folks, as you get ready to head on out, consider clicking that like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to those pesky algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below and share your thoughts, for a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Waste not that beautiful personality of yours. And folks, we would say, as you get ready to head out the door, that it has been an honor to spend time with you, an attitude of gratitude each and every time that you elect to join together with us. Breaking bread and breaking entertainment, well, the industry. No, we like entertainment. It's the industry that irks us sometimes. Well, it was a good time. We hope you had a good time. Folks, until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Jump into the water.
Why listen to music made by people and companies who really don't like you? Check out Vacation Radio today and prepare for all new content made by the people behind the WDW Pro Channel. It's the place you need for all the music. That should be fun.
Want it all, so I give them cannonball. Yeah!
Hundreds of songs, every genre you can imagine. Listen live on YouTube and enjoy a set list that's always sunny. It's Vacation Radio.
Arizona, Arizona.
Pineapple pizza, Hawaiian asphyxia. Can't wait to be up. 3 days of you and me.
What are you waiting for? Every WDW Pro video has a link to Vacation Radio in the video description. Try it out and subscribe today.